with what I've been doing. Cool. So we're live. It's Saturday evening, about 10 UTC, and I'm here with myself, Brian, Viv, and John. I'll be working on the new design of the IDE. So I don't have any IDE up and running yet, but the basic structure is this. So I created this new directory.
What's the chance that you could open that up with Teammate so that I could look at it in my terminal? Do you use Teammate, or does that not work with your setup?
Teammate. I don't really know how to use Teammate. Do you want to walk me through that?
Sure. Are you using Tmux right now?
Yep.
Okay. Yeah, well then it will be easy to install. Just a couple lines, which is right on their About page. So if you switch to the Ubuntu, yeah, I'll just link you the document.
Okay. Sudo, right. Never mind, got it.
Are you able to hear me?
Yep.
Wow. I'm gonna reboot my browser. It's running really slowly, but it's a quick install. If you go to teammate.io, it's right there.
Yep. I am doing that right now.
Oh my god.
Yes. So, if you're interested, so this is what. So under. Okay. So this is the app asset JavaScript directory. So I've got the standard application JS and other things. So under the Codealia IDE, I've now got a bit of a structure going on. I've got another application.js directly underneath the Codealia IDE. I have a routes.js and a couple of controllers and some custom directives here. So I think the video doesn't go through in very much detail how to create your own custom directives. But after looking at a couple of other sources, I found out directives is really useful, and I'll be taking advantage of this Angular feature. Are you following so far? I'm just introducing the
Yes,
structure.
yes, I am following. I just opened up, your version of the on the repo, and I'm just trying to find it within the actual folder.
Oh,
You
okay.
said it was
It's
under assets, and so I'm looking under app, assets, JavaScript,
That's right.
Codealia IDE,
Yep, it's all
and then I
in that
have
folder.
okay,
Yeah.
okay. The application.js, though, is kind of outside of it. It's on its own. So then the controllers and directives. Okay, got it.
Cool.
Got it.
Yep. So I'm trying to build a structure around here so that it won't end up being spaghetti code, if you know what I mean.
Yes, I do.
Before I just have everything bundled in one file. Now I'm splitting it up into folders and letting Rails precompile everything into a nice, neat, minified file in production. Anyway, so we won't feel anything with this setup. Cool. So yeah, I can quickly go through the files. So I have an application JS. This is another application JS. it's all this is actually not required. That's legacy stuff anyway. So application JS that is directly in underneath the Codealia IDE folder. That one is just like the main file, the starting point of the Angular application. So I declare a new Angular module called Codealia that has a single dependency, ng-route, and I attach that to the window. If you open the file on GitHub, I bet you'll see a bunch of other things, but this is actually just legacy code, and I'm not using it at all. I'm just keeping it around because there is some useful stuff I've done here that I haven't quite finished moving it over to the new system. If you understand what I'm saying so far.
Yes, I do understand what you're saying so far. The other application.js that's outside of the Codealia IDE, what's that all about?
Oh, that's for the rest of the application. This application.js is entirely for the Angular app. In fact, it's probably confusing if I keep it this way, so I'm just going to rename it right now to something more suitable. Maybe I'll call it Angular app or something.
Okay, yeah, that's a little easier. Thanks.
Yeah, I'll rename that now.
I'm back.
Cool. Welcome.
Were you able to hear anything I was saying? I just lagged out so hard. Yeah.
Yeah, I heard everything you said. I've installed it, followed their instructions. Now what do I do?
You just type teammate.
Teammate.
Well, you don't want to do it from inside a tmux session. You should open Control-Shift-N, a terminal without a profile.
Okay. Control-Shift-N. Yep.
Then teammate. Why is somebody calling me right now? It's my mechanic. Hold on.
That's for John. I'll keep this
Do
session.
you want to keep, going over some of the smaller stuff? His mechanic might take a while. The mechanic might take a while.
In fact, if this is a full tmux session, I'm just gonna switch over to that panel. Oh, okay. Looks like John's here. Yeah. So back. Oh no, the colors. Fine. I'll just leave that for John. I'll make a new session for myself. Sorry about that. Viv, I'll keep going.
I'm fine. I've typed in teammate into my terminal. If it's, if we're going to do a group teammate look at your code session, whatever you guys want is what I will do.
I can just show it on the video. I think John just wants to navigate around
the
code. So let me fire up the server. All right, so everything is under app assets, JavaScripts, Codealia IDE. So all this here is my file. So now I've renamed it to Angular app, so that's a lot less confusing than having one application.js and one Angular app.js. Yeah, so that should help. Okay, let me do something before I forget. Workshops. So, nope, not this one. There we go. Sorry, I just had to rename this file because otherwise I would have forgotten. Okay, so don't care about all this. That is completely unnecessary legacy code. So I'm starting off by creating an Angular module, calling it Codealia, adding a few dependencies here. That's that, okay?
Okay, I'm back. Mechanic called me to tell me that the car was done.
Cool. What happened to the car?
Just all sorts of preventive maintenance I'd never done. $1,500 worth of work.
Yikes.
Yeah.
That's tough. Oh, I think the teammate session is up.
Yep, it's good.
Cool.
If you're not using it, I guess I could just do my own navigation, but usually, well, whatever.
Go on.
Yeah, does it work?
I'm
Would you mind full
not
screening
using
it?
that one.
Full screening it and then going
Oh, okay.
sending it to the background?
Sure. In fact, let's see. I'll move it somewhere else so it doesn't bother me.
Well, if you full screen and shrink it, it will still work. For me, it won't shrink it on my side.
Oh, okay. But is it still working now?
Yeah, I mean, it's not full screen for me, but if that's your viewport, that's fine.
Yeah. Fortunately, that is my viewport.
That's all good.
Cool. All right. Yeah. Now, okay. Let me bring up the actual view that's using it. Workshop, HTML. Here. Okay. So I created this layout file that's gonna wrap any of the workshops in an Angular app, in my Angular app. So I'm using the Codealia app here. So do you understand the syntax so far?
Hold on a second. What file are you on right now? You've moved out of the assets and you're in views,
it's in,
and it's workshops.
Workshops.html.erb in app views
Angular
layouts. Oh no, it's not Angular
views.
app anymore. This is Rails
Got it.
app. Yeah.
Right. App views, layouts, application.
App views. Yep.
What's it
layouts, called? Not application. Workshops.
Oh, got it. Okay.
HTML.erb. Yeah.
Okay. Got it. Okay.
How do you trigger your nerd tree?
I just called a nerd tree command.
Okay, from within Vim.
Yep.
Okay.
So yes, I declare the Codealia, the Angular app here. And give it assign it the right name, Codealia. That's my module that I'm creating. Yeah. So here comes the interesting part. So I created a custom directive for most of my work. So this is CDL. So I've abbreviated Codealia to CDL. So any custom directives that I use will start with CDL. So this is a container directive. So do you know what directives are?
Just found out.
Okay, yeah. They're basically like HTML attribute tags which Angular will detect and then just attach its own behavior onto it. So here's my custom directive. So I have to go use the app name and then call .directive, and then I create a new directive here. So how Angular works is it uses camel case for the name of the directive. So that means you start the first word lowercase, and then every time you go to a new word, you uppercase the first letter. So CDL, then uppercase C container, and that's converted to a dashified version that instead of having the uppercase character, you have a dash and then the lowercase. So this is how you declare it inside the DOM element. Got it?
So that's gonna become an HTML5 attribute, or is that gonna not show up in the HTML?
I think it still shows up, but it's more like it tells Angular what this is, what it means in the context of the application, Angular app.
Okay. I was just wondering if it transforms at all when it's rendered in the page.
No, I don't think so. If I inspect the element, it's still there. Oh no, wait. No. Yes, there's CDL container still in there, but the behavior is substituted in. Yeah.
So what is your directive providing?
It's okay. I'll show you what it's doing here. So the most important thing is it's attaching a controller to the directive. So in here I'm pointing to the container controller. So this is the container controller. So this is where all the behavior comes in. So this directive is just a way to mark a bit like a certain element to have these properties. And having it as a directive has a certain advantage, which I'll come to later. Anyway, so in my container controller, okay, these are all just dummy functions. Forget it. They don't do anything at the moment. Right. The next thing I have here is another custom directive called Passions Editor, which I'm hoping to have that substitute the contents of the editor in there. So if I open up the Passion Editor directive, here we go. Let me make it a bit bigger. So okay, this one has a bit more behavior. So
hold on a second, Brian. Can you tell me exactly? I just want to see where it's a .js file. I'm just looking for it. Okay, got it. All right, go ahead.
It's under directives.
And which controller? Which controller? Hold on, because the other one was called by a view. How are you calling this directive? Where are you calling it from? How are you calling it first before you get into the directive? Where's it being called in the view?
This is still in the workshops.html view.
Okay, you're still in workshops, so and you're calling it, it in workshops from workshops.
Yep, in line 13.
Got it. Okay.
Yeah.
Okay. I'm gonna do your split view so I can do it. I can see it the way you're seeing it. Go ahead. Sorry.
Yeah. So yeah, I'm declaring this directive here. So this is the interesting thing that I can do. I can have it share a scope with, like, I can pull in a couple of attributes from a parent directive. So for example here, require says that this directive needs a Codealia container as part of its ancestry. So maybe not the immediate parent, but somewhere up the DOM element hierarchy, I need to have a Codealia container.
And is that giving you the scope?
Yeah, it gives me access to the scope. So I have to pass this property called link, and that's a function that takes in. This is the directive's own private scope.
Yep.
The element, this DOM element that the directive is currently occupying, the DOM element attributes, and the fourth argument is the scope of the required container. I mean the required directive. So this is how I'm sort of gluing the editor to the container, and I'll show you why I need that in a second. Oh, and this is another handy thing. instead of, like in Ember, you have to sort of like create the templates inline in a script tag, but in Angular you can actually specify the template URL. I think that's also possible in Ember, but I haven't tried it myself. Okay, so this is actually pointing back to the Rails application and looking down this path, Angular app templates, and then looking for this partial passions editor, which is here. So it's nothing at the moment, it's just it was just a text, and I'm just before I started this Hangout, I only got to the point where I got this text rendering correctly on the screen. So if I go back here, refresh, okay, and I've got it, rendered in the bottom of the screen. That's where I wanted it, because that's where I placed it here on the layout file. So that was working. I was just in the process of adding a bit more behavior. Yeah, cool. So this is actually located, this file is located in app views, templates, and then the passions editor. So that's
yeah, go on.
App views. Oh, sorry, app views, Angular app, passion editor, not templates. Sorry. Yeah, but I have my routes pointing to templates, Angular app templates, passions editor. Things. I have that defined in my routes RB. Yeah, here.
So how annoyed would you be if I asked you to switch all your windows over to that other teammate session so I could actually watch it in the terminal as you work?
I would be quite annoyed because it turns out the color, the syntax highlighting on that teammate session isn't quite right.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Well, that destroys my hope for using... Well, okay. So is it
I
that
think
teammate
I
doesn't
can.
work, but tmux does?
Yeah. I can
Yeah.
try and let me see. Hold on. Let me exit this teammate session if you don't mind.
Yeah, that's fine.
Cool. Okay, right, that cleaned it up. Now let me just move this back here, and I will. Okay, Sorry, Viv. Just be a bit patient. I'll paste my new tmux session.
No problem.
Teammate session.
If you're going to do it in Teammate, then I will boot up Teammate as well. I mean, I kind of typed it into the terminal, but I'll follow as well because then I'll be able to follow exactly how you.
But you can still follow the video. I'm not gonna stop the video.
Okay.
I think it's easier for John to look at it this way.
Okay.
Yeah. So I have, where was I? Yes, I was talking about the container.
Oh, you do use Control P.
Yeah.
Don't you? What is that alias to?
Control T.
It is? I
Comma.
thought oh.
Comma T.
Comma T. Okay.
Yeah. It's very helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I have this. There are a couple of other elements that I have added, which is important. I mean, there's one more custom directive. Let me first remember where everything is. Okay. Yes. So I have this directive, which is quite important in the new design called CDL editable. So basically, what I want this to be is that sandboxed area which is editable in the Codealia editor. If you remember what I said, I want to be able to mark certain HTML elements that have its contents editable by the editor. So that's what I'm trying to do with this custom directive, CDL editable.
Okay.
So that again, it pulls in the parent container scope. So that's how I'm trying to glue all the components together by having a top-level directive and then these other tiny directives that communicate through that parent directive. Not sure if I'm doing this the right way, but it seems to be working for now. So and here in the link function, I'm pulling in the parent scope, and then I'm calling a public method called makeEditable, and then I pass in some of the parameters. So I think that's just about as far as I've gotten.
It
So
seems like magic. How does what you required on the line above become the fourth argument in your line 5 function?
Well, I'm not sure. I guess they're just passing in, because JavaScript isn't very strict on the number of arguments you pass in. A function that accepts 3 arguments, you can pass in 4, and the 4th one will be ignored. So I think that's how they're doing. They're just passing in maybe as a 4th argument something could be just empty or undefined.
Where is this called then? Maybe that's what I'm misunderstanding.
This link, this is part of the Angular framework. I'm not sure where it's called.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, but the real magic in the Angular is this dependency injection. That's really quite amazing, actually. You can just put any arbitrary name, as long as it means something, any order, and they will properly input the right arguments in there. So I can just put, params like that, and that's all gonna come up with the right stuff. Yeah, so that's still haven't gotten my head around how they do that, but that's pretty impressive. Cool. Yeah, so that's as far as I've gotten. I'm now trying to migrate the old editor code in here. Oh, did I do something? No. Okay, so what do you guys think so far? Any questions?
I mean, I don't want to slow you down, but I don't really understand the directives part. Like, when I watched that video yesterday, you didn't really cover these custom directives that are...
No, he didn't. I got that from another source. Let me... I think it was from Egghead that I learned about custom directives. Just followed a bit of their tutorial, and the Angular documentation actually is quite detailed.
Yep. Let me go take a look at that.
On how to work with directives. I'll paste the link on the chat anyway. Yeah, they've got a very good detailed explanation how to work with directives. So everything I know, I mean, that I've been doing is straight from the docs. Yep. So yeah.
Okay, Brian, can you tell me? I'm sorry. Can you to interrupt? But I wanted to find out what is it that now that you've kind of given us a high level, an overview, kind of walked us through the code. Can you tell me what typically when you do these sort of pairing sessions, what's sort of like, what's the format? What's the end goal? What's the purpose? Where do we proceed from here after you do the walkthrough? Like, what would you like to see? What should be done next?
Right. Well, since I'm trying to get more people capable of working with this code, I'd like some of you guys to work on what I want to have done next. Okay, so if I open up my Angular app, okay. So now back here, all this stuff down here is the old code from line 17 all the way down. This is the old code that I used to have. It was a bit hacky. And oh, by the way, John, if you're interested to know, I found out that in order to bind it and to the scope and make it publicly available, you need to use this instead of scope when you're calling in a controller. So this is the stuff that I've made public.
Gotcha.
So scope, I guess, is just like a private thing. So that's how I made these functions shared within the rest of the app. Yep. So that's
on what object is it? Would you call it with container controller dot set editor controller, or?
Yeah, when I go back to editable, so I call parent. So this is the scope that's passed in that I inherited from the required directive. So this the container and the controller that's set up for, because the scope that's passed in here is the controller that's attached to this directive. So the container directive has a container controller attached to this directive. So that's the scope I'm passing here. And that container controller has the function make editable, make public. And that's the one that's, so when I call parent.makeEditable, that works.
Okay.
Yeah. Cool. Okay, back to Viv's question. Yeah, so I'd like to have at least be able to rotate some of the responsibility around while I'm building this iteration of the application.
Okay, got it.
Cool. Yeah. So if you remember what I told last time, so these are a couple of basic settings that I had set up for the previous editor. Now I want to mimic that functionality here in my editor HTML. Yeah. So, okay. I think ignore this thing for now. So all I want is to be able to assign an editor here, and then when I call make editable, it will, attach the contents of whatever's inside that div into the editor. So most of the code you can find in my old legacy code. It's doing just about the right thing, except for everything up here, which now we don't care about. Okay, cool. So shall I push this up to my branch, and then somebody can pull it in and work on it? Who wants to take the first stab at it?
I suppose I can.
Okay.
What's the name of the branch? Maybe.
IDE Reborn. I was running out of names anyway. I had to update and start and preparation. So I had to come up with something fancy.
Wonder if I have you as a remote here. Wait a second. I'm gonna use Rivimon though.
Okay. Yeah, no worries.
It's gonna be hard. I like to watch what you're doing live terminal, but not yet at that level.
Yeah, I've gotten used to doing Vim at work. I'm slowly siphoning off BIM knowledge from 2 of my coworkers, who are just BIM
Oh, yeah?
experts. Yeah.
Hmm. Okay, unfortunately, the only way I can start is from the command line. It's a weird thing. I broke my Ruby mine.
Oh, really?
Yeah. It's
Is
fine.
it just the desktop? I mean, the desktop icon, or I mean,
Yeah.
from the opening it from the dash menu. Okay.
Yeah.
Hmm. Maybe it's just that the executable it's pointing to is no longer working.
Probably. I mean,
Yeah.
whatever. I'll explain it later. It doesn't really matter.
Okay.
And get remote.
If you don't have me as
dash
remote,
one.
I've pasted my remote URL link in the chat.
Okay.
And Viv, you can add me as remote if you don't already have me.
Oh no, I already have you as a remote,
Okay, cool.
and I have the new IDE you gave me. I got that.
Awesome. And I just pushed up the latest code, so remember to pull that in.
Okay. I've got it. Headless.
Oh yeah. You can use git checkout -t and it will create a new branch with the right name. It's just like git checkout to my remote branch, and then git checkout -b to a new branch with the same name, new local
Okay.
branch. Yeah.
Let's check
I
that
mean,
out.
it's just a little faster.
So get dash T, and then I would do Brian
Yep.
like that. Okay.
Check out. Yeah.
Cool. Dash hard. So I've got some stuff. Okay. I was wondering actually if this is like why there wasn't strong params here, but we can look at that later. Close all. All right. Get a. The. Give me a jump start. Do I want to go here? No. Well, I do need that, but that's mostly empty.
I think yeah, you can also open up the Angular app.js because that has a bunch of legacy code that I was keeping around to remind myself how I did it before.
Okay. Oh, this
Yep.
one right here.
So we have right, where are we? We have that. So I have the editable element set up, and that whenever it declared a link function, which is called when the directive is linked to the parent directive.
Make editable.
Yeah, when it's initialized, pretty much.
And so I should find a defined one of the controllers here. Make editable.
Make editable is already defined in the container controller.
Yep.
But it's empty at the moment. So that's where I want to.
Okay. So this line right here of scope editable equals true is garbage, or what do you mean it's empty right now?
Oh yeah. I think what I was thinking was I was worried when the editable function is called twice on an object, so I have that checked, which is completely unnecessary actually. You can remove that. I'll trust Angular that it's doing the right thing. So
Right.
yeah, it might as well be empty. You can just get rid of that. Check.
So make editable is where you want to do more or less the stuff that you have in your init function here, where
Yep.
you were setting up some things from Ace?
Yep.
Okay. Do we need...
So ace.edit will create a new editor's instance out of something.
What is this
And
first line for? Or I guess, no, I see what that is. You might use that in the template. Where
yeah.
to put it.
So the first line, the preview, is actually for the contents of the editable part. So in fact, yeah. So what you want to do is assign. Well, I'll let you guys figure it out. But that preview is supposed to be what the code editor will be changing. Pretty much.
Where's the
Content of it.
template where this is going to go? It's in learning.
The template is, let me think. Learning Workshop 2, Part 2. Workshop 2, Part 2. Yeah. The editable Workshop 2, Part 2. Yeah. Right at the top, there's a editable tag.
Do I have the right thing open? Okay, CDL editable up there. Gotcha. So by calling this directive here, I get everything from this, which also includes the parent directive as well. And it calls make editable for me, I suppose.
Yep.
And so we just need to make sure make editable is doing what we want. I'm going to have to, obviously, cycle through all these steps. I mean, I don't really know what I'm doing, so my first guess would just be to rip out the contents of this right there and drop it in to make it editable. And flip on the switches and see what happens.
That's a reasonable way to go. So make editable.
Where does this function end? It ends line 46, doesn't it? Right? Yeah.
What file are you in, John?
This is Angular app.js. I am always losing my place. Hot damn, where is that file? I should read the
Container controller.
Container controller. Right, this is the line. Okay, so you don't want that line. Okay, so we don't seem to be referring to it with a $sign. Is that something that's optional here?
That's optional in this case. In the link function, it's totally optional. Oh wait, is that this? Oh yeah, because that's my own custom function, and I know what the arguments are. I'm not doing anything smart like Angular, so yeah, that's just a standard function where I have predefined inputs. So there's no need for a $sign.
Okay, did I? So I don't want this whole conditional at all, right?
No.
Yeah, I need to get rid of that. Okay. And we don't want. No, I probably shouldn't do that. Yeah, I could just do it selectively. I don't know what. I don't know. I probably shouldn't. I don't know how this works. Control Z. Might take away too many of the $signs. Okay. Not sure what you mean by this is your own private scope. Well, actually, wait. Let me see how it's called again. Over in the directive.
That will be the. I'll pass in the scope of that directive.
And this scope right here refers to the one from parent?
No, the parent
No.
is the last argument. The first one is its own private scope.
Okay. Right.
So yeah, I'm not sure exactly how many of those stuff I need, so I just passed in all three. If you feel that I'm adding one too many, just get rid of it.
Well, I would have no clue. I mean, these clearly aren't being used in here. Not that that matters, I guess.
Yeah. I think some of that code will actually have to be split to the other passion editor directive, because this is just the editable portion. That initialization function I had before just had a mix of both the editable version and the editor.
So this part right here. Wait.
So that's just catching all the any keystrokes into the editor.
Yeah. So why wouldn't you need all this? I'm looking at. It looks like it's all needed. No.
Yeah, I guess they are needed at some point. Yeah, well, I haven't really thought about it a lot. So yeah, just continue to edit it. I'll make editable and set editor controller.
Alright, so I should go to workshop 2, part 2.
Yep. Part 2. That's the only place I'm embedding my editor right now.
Right, okay. I don't see the text you had down here.
That's interesting.
So,
can you open up? I think I got rid of it. Can you open up? Let me see. Angular app views, Angular app, and I think there's only one file in there. App views, Angular app.
Angular app, sorry.
The directory, sorry. There's a directory called Angular app under views. Yeah. Yeah, so I've changed that into a empty div.
Got it. Yeah. Okay.
Cool. That is rendering.
Yep, that renders. It's just regular HTML.
So that is the empty div that's gonna act as the new editor. So I think what you want to do is call ace.edit on that.
Okay, so should I be making a command in the HTML calling to Angular?
I think you can do everything in the link function, because that's all under the editor, passion editor directive. There is a link function which acts as like an init function for the directive, so you can put the ace.edit in there.
Okay, so I just need to call the directive and all the magic kicks off? Like...
Well, you just need to, declare it in there, and once Angular makes a pass at it, it's done. Oh no, you don't need to. It's already part of the directive. If you go back to editor, the view. I mean, not the view. The directive. CDL passions editor.js. you can see I have a template URL,
Yep.
and that's pointing to that template, that HTML file.
So does that mean that when that page opens, it'll do this? Or
Yeah,
what is
that means it will create a div with all these properties attached, and the contents will be everything that's in that template URL.
okay.
Yeah. So what will be at the end of what the browser renders is maybe a top level div with CDL Passions Editor, and inside I have that empty div.
So this directory here doesn't exist anywhere in my actual app. It's something that is created on the fly when the app starts.
Sorry?
Or
Which one?
is this
Oh no, that's a route. That's
that's
just
a
something
route?
mirrored in a route, yeah.
But how will this route ever get called?
Um,
Like, is that
that's
actually something that?
Angular. Yeah, Angular fetches it for me when I declare it as a URL. You can
But how
either
does my
specify
browser fetch it? Like, is there a link here that I'm going to click on that will give me that appended to the URL?
Oh no, it's I think Angular uses Ajax to fetch the contents and render it.
So at any point in my browser, is my URL going to say this?
Oh no, that template URL is simply for fetching the contents of that directive.
Okay, so this doesn't exist anywhere in the browser or in my file structure. It's just this imaginary route that Angular decides to call.
Yeah. You can also specify an inline HTML, so instead of template URL, you can put template and add a div in there. But this is just another way of um, pulling in the contents from the server instead of declaring it inline, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, a
So
little
the
bit.
CDL container is the directive that calls up that template URL, which embeds itself in the Passions editor HTML. Is that
Um,
right? So it starts
yeah,
from the directive CDL container. It moves over kind of a route, the template URL, and it ends up embedding itself in Passions editor HTML.
yeah.
Okay. And what is it that you want John to do then?
So
You
what
want
you can,
him to, yeah, I'm just like, because it looks like he is trying to port over stuff from the old IDE
mhm.
and attach it to that controller. So is that correct? Attach it to CDL container directive rather, CDL container directive. Does it attach it to the directive or to the controller editor's controller?
Um, I think I want it to be attached to the controller, the container controller, or the editor controller. I'm not sure which one at the moment.
But
Yeah.
anyway, once it's attached, the whole point is that it's supposed to then kind of pour itself into all of those attributes will be poured into that div that you've created in Passions Editor, and it'll kind of work behind the scenes on that Passions Editor.html page.
Yeah.
Correct? Okay, that's the functionality you want ported over.
Mhm.
And what's the file that he's porting it over from? John, I can't see your screen is so tiny. I can't see as you move back and forth. I can't see where you're at. So what file is it that you're porting all the old code from? What's the name of the file?
I think the old code was in Angular app.js.
Okay. I'm okay. Alrighty. That's it. I just wanted to ask what you were doing. Go ahead.
Cool. That's all right.
Yeah. Okay. So I'm
Yes.
beginning to wrap my head a little bit around that directive. It is sort of mirrored over here, right, with this Angular app directory.
hmm Yeah, but it's that URL is just a custom URL that I made and made work with the routes config.routes. I mean
I
config
don't
route.
see. Oh, you're not
Uh,
talking about this. You're talking about the
no,
actual
the
config
routes
route.
file. Yeah. That's just a placeholder that does really nothing. In the config routes, I've set it up to point Angular app templates to just to return anything that's in the template. I mean Angular app views, Angular app, and anything inside. I think I have a special controller just for the templates. It's probably a nicer way to do things.
I'm not seeing the breadcrumbs here.
Oh. Well, that's interesting. You look like you have an outdated version.
What? I did a headless checkout. Oh, you know what? I might need a poll.
The version that's here says templates hash get template. It looks like you set it to like a wildcard template underscore name. Anything with a template name on it, right? Is that what you wanted?
Yep.
You know, sometimes when you do a checkout, it doesn't have the most recent stuff. Let me see if anything comes to this poll. Oh, it says I'm already up to date with IDE Reborn. Are you sure that you had those files committed?
Yeah. I think Viv, you're seeing them too, aren't you? Because that's config routes.
Yeah.
I didn't.
Yes, I am. Are you, John? Are you looking under config routes.rb?
Yeah, line 9. I don't know why I didn't see that. Okay. That is making me feel better.
Okay, so the file's been updated.
Alright, so...
Yeah. Well, you had the old version before, but now it's updated. Yeah.
But I never pulled anything.
I know.
Already up to date. Maybe RubyMine is weird.
Yeah, maybe RubyMine is acting weird, because I'm definitely sure I saw the old version, and then it updated itself. Okay. Yes. So, yeah.
I'm sort of like at the extent of my knowledge here. Like, great. I don't know if I did that function, if I put the stuff I put in that function is going to work, but I feel like I haven't yet tied that function into the DOM. Where is the template that has all the other directives listed in it? What was the
part 2?
Part 2. Gotcha.
Yeah. That's the one that declares the editable portion. Right at the top. The rest of the directives are declared in a layout file, workshops.html.erb.
Okay. Div passion editor. Okay, so that's why it's at the bottom, because you yield the entire page and then you... Okay. Right. So, where does the magic take me now? Like, how do I know that that function is getting called with that? Like you have it here. We're calling the directive.
And
the directive does some magic with link, right?
Right.
Which this acts as an init, you said? This will get called, right? And we're calling set editor. Oh.
Yep, so I'm trying to put all my logic inside the parent container. So I want to put all that business logic in the container controller.js. So that's where everything should be tied together. So I'm just in these directives passing all these calls back up to the container, and the container is what binds everything together.
Okay. Go.
Yeah.
Now lost. So when we call this directive, this function gets called set editor controller.
Yep.
which I don't know what this is. Editor panel.
Set editor controller. Oh,
Yep.
yeah. Yep.
It takes a scope and assigns it to this variable. I don't know what it does with that variable though.
Yeah, it doesn't do anything with that variable. In fact, you probably might need to pass in a bit more to that function.
The make editable one?
Yep. Not make editable. The editor controller. Set editor controller. So we're passing in the scope. We might want to pass in the element as well and the attribute, or just make the function have the exact signature as make editable. I think passing in everything is safer than passing in only a part of it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So all minus the container. Close this thing. We're dead. Do we still want to call it editor scope? I guess we could. So all I know is that the scope from where? This scope. Okay, so this container. Oh man, I'm so twisted around. I don't remember which is the parent. CDL container. Okay, so it's passing.
Argument.
Yeah.
Hmm?
So set editor controller. So this is what we want to do in set editor controller to set the controller for this directive to be the parent, to be the container controller instead of the editor's controller.
Sorry, could you repeat that?
Set editor controller. What is the goal of this right here?
Alright. I think what would be a better name for that would be set editor. Because I just want to tell the parent that this editor directive is ready to ready to go, pretty much.
Okay.
Yeah.
Brian?
So how's that different from make editable?
Because the set editor will set the editor for the IDE, so that div will be your text input, and then the output will be the editable part.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. Sorry, Viv, you were saying something?
I wanted to ask two items. Might be more. First of all, how does ACE interface with all of this? I mean, all that we're doing right now is all in Angular, but I'm not quite sure how the ACE editor interfaces with Angular, and I didn't research ACE, so that's one of the things I have to do. So, but where is that in your code? The reason I'm asking is because if you could give me a chore or task, or chore probably, to do so that I can, because I need to first architect this. I have to draw out the architecture so that I know where all your files are, because right now I'm getting lost in the files. Once I draw out the architecture, it'll be easier for me to pinpoint where everything is. So if you could give me a chore, I'd like to drop out and architect it, and then I can get back and start working on it. Or work on it, but just give me a chore for something to do. Or do you want me to stay and watch how John troubleshoots? Tell me what you'd like.
I think it's better if you stay, because this is like at a very editor is at a very unstable stage right now. A lot of things can change. There's nothing much I can tell you to go off and do, and when you come back, it might be completely redundant.
Okay.
Because we changed things. Yeah.
Alrighty.
So I prefer if you stay around.
Absolutely.
And ACE has its own interface, which we can hook onto Angular. So there are a couple of functions like ace.edit, which you call with a certain ID of a DOM element that will be converted into the editor. And you can do things like register callbacks. So whenever a key event is a button is, I mean, a key character is typed into the editor, it will fire off a special event, which will trigger a function that maybe somewhere in Angular is doing something. That's really it. I don't know if that helps you at all, Viv or John.
That explains the concept. Which file are you using to make those calls?
Ace has its own library, so I'm just including that in.
Oh, okay. So you don't have it coded anywhere within this. Okay.
Oh no.
You're just making a call. Okay, I didn't realize
Yeah.
it wasn't on the files.
Right.
I don't know, Brian. You might need a drive. This is a little over my head.
Okay, but at least you've got a better idea now. Yeah, I can take over on this, Viv, if you want to try hacking away at this for a little while.
I have to. I mean, now that I kind of see what needs to be done, I have to put together an architecture. I have to see where all your files are, because I have to make sense of the architecture and understand like the structure. I have to do a mind map, understand the structure where all the files are, and so that I know how you coded it. Like I can understand the structure behind how you coded it. Then I would be able to start moving stuff around. I can't do it right now without knowing the structure at all, because you're too many files, and I don't know where anything is. I don't know how the code is moving, if you know what I mean. So I've got to get that. If I'd realized that, and I guess that's why you told me, I would have drawn the architecture before this meeting. So if we could meet maybe again tomorrow, I'll have it. I'll have the architecture. It's just going to probably take me an hour to put that together.
Okay.
I have to know. I don't know how your files are. I don't know how your code is moving. I need to do an architecture to see how it's moving, if that makes sense at all. Like where you're calling things from. I don't know how it's moving. Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know it's a little complicated. Hard to take all that in right now.
No, I just need to know where all your files are, because there are a lot of files that you're calling. You've got a lot of unique files, and I need to go into each one and see what each one is doing. First, how it's structured, then see what it's doing. Then I can start moving stuff around.
Okay.
And refactoring, if that makes sense.
Yep, that makes complete sense. So, just a basic summary of what these files are doing. Controllers, all the controllers contain what I'm trying to put in is the business logic, all the logic behind creating the behavior in the application. The directives are just like the placeholders in the HTML DOM element, and DOM model that hooks onto specific controllers to pull their behavior off, and just have a couple of default settings.
In the video, it had the controllers listed directly in the DOM elements, but this is sort of like packages that plus more in there?
Yep, pretty much, yeah. So that's why I've been using more directives than actually pending the controller attributes in there.
Gotcha.
I found this is a lot more flexible. You can do interesting things with them. Yeah, and it's also repeatable. You can sorry. You can reuse editors. So maybe I want to have multiple editors, or I definitely want to have multiple editable regions. So I've been trying to use more directives. Cool. So John, if you could push up your latest changes, I can take over for a while.
Okay. If you want that. All I did was one copy paste.
Yeah. I'll be happy you taking over from that. Yeah, it is a little hard to take all this in because there is no, nice, neat little convention, and we don't really have a good mental model of how Angular app's supposed to work. Yeah. So I was hacking it for a few hours, so it took me that long to get this structure out. I wouldn't expect you guys to get it within, span of a couple of minutes.
All right, it's up there.
Cool. It's I don't think I have your remote. No, I don't. Could you paste in your remote? Or I'll try and find you.
I got it in the chat now.
Cool. Cannot resolve host. That's weird.
Does it need a .git? I wouldn't think so. Did I?
Maybe it did need a .git. Let me try that. Yeah, that was... Yeah, it just needed the .git.
Oh.
Which branch were you on?
Yours.
I don't...
Oh, that's
Codealia.
odd.
That's weird.
Did I not push to origin the... Did I push to origin the wrong branch? I probably did. I probably pushed... Oh, no, it's still writing.
Oh.
Because there must have been a... Yeah, I'm like stuck at 31%.
Oh, okay. Well, I can just wait till that's done. Yeah. So any more questions while that stuff is still being pushed up? So of course there are a lot.
Okay, so what's the point of having an editor controller if you're going to put all the logic in the container controller?
That is a good point. I think what I want to put in the editor controller is perhaps the logic to switch the logic that's contained within just the editor itself, like switching between tabs. So if maybe you want to go to CSS mode or JavaScript mode, something like that. I might want to keep that in the editor controller. But I put that there as more like a placeholder of in case I need that logic. Maybe I don't.
And the container controller is more about activating certain parts of the page as editors and editables.
Yeah, that's right.
Gotcha. So editable is the one that reflects what, and you're going to have one editor and possibly multiple editables? Actually, that would be weird. You're just going to have a bunch of clones all showing the same thing, right? You probably have them paired.
I'll have maybe a route of some sort to figure out which of the editable I'm pointing to. Yeah.
Yeah, that makes sense. Okay.
Yeah, so that's why I included ng routes. Okay, yeah. A lot of these I could probably move to separate stories. So, is it done yet? Right.
That's a good question.
My...
Yes. It's got like this blank space. It like, yeah, here it is. Yep, it's all up there.
Cool, yeah. Right. What I want, well, my vision for this Angular app is it somehow is consuming like is communicating with our Rails backend. I want it to consume some kind of API from the Codealia site, and that API maybe is interacting with it's doing something with I don't know, storing the code snippets, logging in users, things like that.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know where. I think we're still discussing all that stuff. But yeah, I wanted to consume some sort of JSON API. I also have all the views declared inside the Angular app folder and app views. I'm just trying to, um, keep the HTML away from the JavaScript code, keep them separate, and just have them in a nice, in one place. So I bet this app will have a couple more directives. Could be handy in the future.
Brian, when
Yep.
you're under your directives, as I'm kind of looking at it, making more sense of it, you when you have the container, because your container controller, you said is sort of the parent controller that handles everything, handles all the logic. So when you split out your directives into three, your controllers though are in two, right? You have the container itself, directive, and then you have the editable. So the editable is what will change, like what's viewable, and the container, I presume, is where they're typing into. And
oh no, the container is like
yeah.
editable is marking that div which the contents are going to be editable. The
Exactly.
container is the top level div that all the editables and editors will be inside.
So the CDL underscore editable dot JS, I mean the CDL underscore container dot JS is where all of the different editable parts will be contained inside of?
Yeah.
Okay, so
So I
then,
want
okay, so if that's the case, then right now in your directives, you have the passions section of the page and editable, which is the actual HTML itself, editable. Like, explain, I just want to know how you broke out those directives. So the editable and passions editor is inside the CDL container.js?
Yep. Yep. So if I open the workshop HTML, so I have this layout file. It has a top level CDL container, and that contains inside it's
Can I
yielding the
see
content.
what's the file you've got? Workshops.html.erb?
Yep.
What are you in? Okay.
Workshops.html.erb app layouts. So
Okay,
that
got it.
has CDL container up there, and inside that it's yielding the contents of the template I'm rendering, which is part2.html, and that has a CDL editor tag in there. And also, just after it yields that, it also has CDL passions editor. So all those are like those directives are all children to the top level CDL container, which I want to be act as like the glue between the editors and the editable sections.
Got it. Got it. And your hold on, that's the editor. And your CDL underscore editable.js, where is that? Where is that called?
Um,
Where is that called?
CDL container here.
CDL underscore editable.js.
Oh, that's in part2.html.erb
Part two.
under workshop 2.
Okay.
Learning app views,
Yeah.
learning
Okay.
workshop
Yeah.
2.
Workshop
Yeah,
2.
right at the top there is a CDL editable.
Part2.html. Yeah, it'll be a lot easier once I map these files. Okay, here it is. And let me just find that. I just want to see where you're calling all these containers, like where they're coming from. Container. What line is that on?
The CDL editable line 3.
Oh wow, that's hidden. Okay, I would never have found that. Okay, cool, got it. Thank you.
No worries. Okay, so right, what I want to do is, so when I set editor, I want to initialize the editor. This is a bit hard coded, but oh well. Don't know if you'll find it. So I want to call edit on this element here, passions editor. I wonder if you can pass in arbitrary HTML elements. Find a subedit. String DOM element. Okay. So I can provide DOM element in there. Oops, wrong one. Element. I'm just doing that because of jQuery. Yeah. So Angular actually embeds inside the library like a lightweight version of jQuery. Like I think it's called JQ Lite or something. That quacks like jQuery. So hopefully, I think this syntax is about right. So I'm calling.
Is that supposed to be a class or an ID?
It can be any DOM element here. I can pass in a string or a DOM element. If I pass in a string, it will be treated as an ID. If I pass in a DOM element, I think I'll just take that DOM element. So that's why I'm taking the 0th element out of there.
But you're passing in a string, so shouldn't that be an ID in only one of them?
Yeah. If I pass in a string, it'll be in the passions editor.
Oh, when you pass it into edit, you're saying.
Yeah.
So
when I pass into
element.find.
edit.
Okay, I gotcha.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Sorry. Find will pass. Yeah. Well, actually, I should put an ID in there. So this is just a selector, an arbitrary selector. Editor ace.edit. So I've gotten rid of that. So this is okay. That's just boilerplate setup stuff. Set fonts, margin, con. I don't need this actually. That's setting up a custom command. Right. Okay, I'm gonna try and do this. Scope.generate preview. Why did I pass an editor? No, I don't need editor anymore. I can just do scope.generate preview here. So every time a key is pressed or something, a new character is input, I'm going to call generate preview. And hold on. Okay, I need to first declare a, or just call it preview element. And if both exist, I'm gonna call scope.preview.html, or I think at least, yeah, it should be HTML or inner HTML or something. Should be fine. Angular.js. What did I have here? Editor.getValue. Yeah, the code in here is a bit more longer because it's an iframe. So I had to pull out the contents from the iframe. It's a bit harder. Yeah, but okay. So hopefully this will work. Set editor on change if, let me add something else. So if the preview exists, I'm gonna do editor.set. I think it's set value. Let me find out. Set value, current document to value. Yeah. Okay. Let's go preview.html. So I want to set the editor's contents to be whatever is in the preview's HTML.
Wait, the preview is whose contents?
The editable content. If, let me open that up again, part 2. Here. Oops. It should be everything here. That's what I want it to be, at least. So I want everything that appears in that editor to be, settings, div, h1, h2, hello social world, things like that.
Okay.
Yeah, I don't know how it's like, what's the order of things that are called right now. So I'm just gonna do it like this at the moment until I figure out. Main editable. Yeah, just to figure out which one gets called first. So hopefully this will work. The only thing I'm gonna need is maybe some styling here. Or actually it'll be in a HTML. I'll put these all in a separate CSS tag once I've sorted them out. Okay, refresh. Nope, it's not running. Cool. If I refresh this page, come up with this. Oh, well, you look at that. It's actually working. So I have here.
I can't see your screen. Are you still doing screen share,
I can see.
Brian?
Yeah, I'm doing screen share. Can't you see it?
No, and I'm on your.
No?
I can see it.
Maybe it just there's some lag. Usually I can see your screen though. I'm not seeing anything right now.
Oh, okay. Yeah, just let me know if you need me to do anything or something. Well, right. So that's that. Although it looked a bit weird. Okay, looks like Chrome was trying to do something here. Let me see what happens when I try and close that. Okay, that looks a bit better. Yeah. So that is everything in here. Hello social world. If I got rid of that, will that interactively, whoops, bad habit. Yeah. So that got rid of the contents in there. And I put that back in, then it's back here. Cool. So it
Wow.
looks like it's working. Yeah. I think the next thing I want to do is have this sort of pop up. Instead of being part of, the page, you can hide it, make it pop up. Yeah. But that's stage 1 done. You know. So we've got a lot done today. I don't know if you guys will be interested in writing tests for this at the moment, or you want a bit more time to digest the stuff.
I think actually I don't want to write the test right now, but
Yeah.
I will want to. That's usually my best way of trying to figure it out. Yeah, it's pretty neat.
Mhm.
I'm glad I saw that get
Working.
put together.
Right. So I'll just push this up to my origin. So yeah, the editor's working. And it's, something you can just add in here. Just have an editable tag, CDL editable, and the contents are completely editable.
Yeah, now that I
Yeah.
see it, I sort of get what you're going for, and that's really cool. So the editable directive is what you're tagging on there, so it still shows on the page, but it's also capturing that content and injecting it into the editor so that they can
Yeah.
type and change it. That's cool. And you're using the two-way bonding to oh
Yep.
wow, I got
It's
it.
not actually two-way binding that's doing it. It's the on change
Oh, in the Ace editor?
thing here. Yeah.
Generate preview, gotcha.
I probably could do a two-way binding as well, but I feel since I'm already catching the on change event, I might as well just replace the contents in directly.
So when generate preview scope preview, okay, so it actually does change the HTML. It's not doing some visual ace trick on the screen.
No, I don't think so.
I gotcha.
But yeah, that's it. So other things that I'm looking forward to doing in the future is at the moment it only supports one preview. I want to
Hmm.
somehow manage all that preview, um, maybe under routes or something. Just have some way to figure out which of the previews that I want to edit at one time.
So you could
So,
almost have go to a section of the page that you denote as editable. You click on it to
mhm,
pull up a specific editor, change it,
yep,
shrink that editor, go to another part. Oh,
yep, something like
okay.
that. And then I want to have maybe like a data name or data route, and this will be the route that's used by Angular to figure out maybe when you share a link with a friend, which of these editable things pop up in the editor at one
Once you
time.
attach a
Yeah.
back end to it and you are able to save the things that you're editing, you're saying?
Yep.
Okay.
Things like that. Yeah. Yeah. So all this stuff you can do with Angular. So yeah, it'll be kind of cool to have this up and running.
Now, is there any particular Angular dev tool that you're able to use
Um,
in
Not
Chrome?
at
How
the
am I going to set
moment.
breakpoints in this and so forth?
Breakpoints. Just use, I don't know, Chrome developer tools. They've got
Okay, so it is
pretty
like that.
good
I can
ones.
just put a breakpoint in there
Yeah.
and then start typing and it'll catch that breakpoint instead of showing the preview.
You mean for which part?
Okay, so if you open up a dev tool right now
Okay.
and you pull up the Angular code for generate preview, is it? Yeah. If you put a debugger right in the middle of generate preview, so it doesn't actually get to generate, but and then you go type on your keyboard in the editor, will it catch the debugger and drop you off in the middle of the generate preview?
Okay. Um, yeah, this here, generate preview. Right, you want me to catch up here, right? So I think I should refresh the page first. Okay, that's caught for the first time. Continue. It's caught twice. So when I do this, it's caught. Yeah, so it's catching that event.
Perfect. Okay.
Oh, twice. Interesting. Perhaps on change is too sensitive. Anyway, yeah. So yes, we can use Chrome Developer Tools. And another interesting observation, it looks like it's calling made editable and then editor. So it's going from top down in the way it's linking the stuff. That's another interesting thing to note.
Based on the order in the DOM, you're saying? Because editable
Yep,
is
the
higher?
order in the
Okay.
DOM, yeah. Whichever one is linked first. Cool. So yeah, so this is it. There are a couple of more things that can be tidied up. Do I have any changes? Yes. Okay. No, I shouldn't do that. Cool. So yeah, it's getting late over here, so I'm gonna call it a day. But yeah, if you guys still want to work on this, I could use a couple of tests. What else?
How do you think in Jasmine we can trigger typing in the editor? Just change the HTML in the editor or use ace.setValue?
Ace, I did it in one of my Jasmine tests, in fact. Ace dot something.
Yeah, get session set value a. Okay.
Yeah. Okay. So that triggers an on change. That will be good enough for testing. And Angular, the Angular docs, they like testing, so they have lots of examples how you test stuff with
Okay.
Angular. So yeah, I could use a couple of tests in here before I can make a pull request out of this. So right now that I have a first iteration of the editor, I can start putting in some stories maybe tomorrow, more detailed stories on what I would want to see for the first Passions editor at least.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, I hope you guys have an understanding now of what I'm trying to go for here. This thing could use a bit more CSS to make it user friendly, but the basic idea is you can mark when somebody's at least developing the lesson contents, they can use Angular directives to mark certain tags with editable or something else. Maybe we'll have more features in the future.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, they can mark it as editable, and then this editor can, you can open up the editor and edit those snippets and have it render interactively on the web page. Yeah.
Cool.
So yep, that's the idea. Let me try something just quickly. If I do position absolute, no, fixed bottom 0, and well, height just 100 pixels. How will this look like? Cool. So this actually looks a bit better. Yeah.
Ah.
Yeah. So this is my idea. I want to have a pop-up that comes up here or something.
Mm-hmm.
Make it a bit bigger, but yeah, well, I shouldn't be caring about this at the moment. Eh, yeah, you shouldn't follow me what I just did. I've been doing lots of forced push in at work, at least,
Oh yeah.
because that's the way they work. Yeah, we always try and use every pull request is pretty much one small commit.
Mm-hmm.
So every time somebody changes something, they have to do a force push. Yeah,
Right.
it's a little
Because you
dangerous, but we
squash it
do it all the
into that
time.
first commit, and then you force it.
Yeah, yeah, pretty much keeps the commit history clean.
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Yeah, so I want to do stuff like this. And then Thomas says he wants to edit this, change the data user here. So this is going to have to hook on to the rest of the JavaScript that's going on as well. Because I think Thomas has a special JavaScript that's triggered when you type search. You hit search button. So I want to have also in the, say here, we can have a data on change or something. And that's supposed to hook into another, into a callback or something.
Okay.
Anyway, yeah, we'll figure all these out, and I'll put stories and we'll figure all these out throughout the course of this project. Yeah, but this will be a cool one. It's probably the most front end thing that we had
I'm
so far.
curious. Brian, when you moved, your editable area, is it scrolling? Because my line fell off and I came back on. Is it scrolling up and down the page as you move it through the page? And that was what you wanted. You said, that's exactly what I wanted. Was that what you wanted? Was that the feature you just enabled?
Yeah, just to be like affixed onto this page. So that can be done with CSS. There's no JavaScript in there.
No, but when you said, that was what I wanted, what was it that you had just done? I kind of came in when you were doing it. I didn't know what it was that you were
Yeah, just
you said.
having this editor stuck to the bottom of the page,
Oh, I
and
see.
so you
Okay.
can edit
And
this
it
thing
scrolls. Go ahead.
and you can see the changes that you've done. Because before I had it all the way in the bottom, so you couldn't tell. So now, as I remove the line, the site updates, and you no longer see these headers.
I got it. And that's right now on the very top. I forgot what that's called. I think that's the intro.html section, that ERB section that you're editing right now.
Yeah, the part 2, actually.
Okay.
Part 2, the HTML, yeah.
Yeah, of part 2, correct. And does this work with part 1, by the way?
It works, yes, but I think there's nothing in there that's that I wanted to edit. Yeah, no, wait, no, I have to explicitly include this Codealia IDE at the moment. But I think I'll speak with Pete and Thomas tomorrow, and then I might just include this thing, at the top level layout file, so we can attach this behavior everywhere. Yeah. So yeah, I still need to discuss with Thomas and Pete what they think. But yeah, so that's what I plan to do next.
Okay, and as you start writing out stories, you said that right now you want some tests on what you have so far, and as you
Yep.
start writing out stories, are there more items you want to refactor, or
I
how
think
would
there's
that
not
work?
a lot to refactor at the moment, um, unless you found out a better way to organize this JavaScript, because I've just built up this whole structure over the top of my head. I could be wrong, or there could be a better way to do things. So if you feel something needs a bit of refactoring, feel free to, go ahead and do it. I'm not particularly attached to the structure at all.
Brian, I think you know way more about structure than I do. When it comes to this, I was just wondering because you said you were going to start writing stories, and I'm wondering, I'm just trying to figure out how it works. So you write stories, and we each take a part of the IDE story to work on. We work on it as a group, as this kind of pair programming, as we learn more and more how Angular works. Is that how? And then write tests for each one. Is that how it's going to work?
Yep.
Okay.
Pretty much. Yeah. Yeah, I want to discuss this with Thomas and Pete as soon as possible, so we can decide which stuff we want to prioritize. Because it's something we can show to the client in the next client meeting, whenever that is.
Brian, I gotta go. Thanks for this
Cool.
right here.
All right.
Talk to you both later.
Yeah, no worries. Yeah, see ya, John. I've got to go too anyway.
Alrighty.
So, Viv, I'll
Thank you.
probably catch you tomorrow. Yeah. So, yeah. Hopefully
Okay.
you have more time to have a look at this building.
Yeah, I'm
you can
gonna.
have a
Yeah,
stab
I'm
at
gonna
it
do
tomorrow.
that. Yeah. Okay. Will do. Okay. Got it.
Cool.
Okay. Bye-bye.
All right. Yeah. Bye.